For Asian people used to eating hot and spicy foods that Western palates find difficult, what is your culinary pain equivalent when you're presented with food from a Western cuisine like New Zealand, Australia, Europe or North America? I live in Hungary and I heard Asians complain about how everything has meat and paprika in it. Strong tasting cheese. I can't handle anything stronger than cheddar. My father-in-law is Indian and eats flaming hot curries all the time. But he recoils in fear from black pepper. Like, plain old, sitting on the table next to the salt shaker, pepper. I don't even think of black pepper as spicy, but if you bite into a peppercorn or something, it does have a bit of a kick. Nothing like the ghost peppers this guy could eat like cherries, but that black pepper kick was just enough to scare him off. I was raised in the States but lived in China for a long time. The Western foods I've seen my Chinese friends have the most difficulty with are blue cheese and olives. They eat olives in China, but they're preserved a totally different way. I have met only a very small handful of Chinese that could deal with either. I have many coworkers who are Chinese. Many comment on when I eat raw veggies. I guess they are used to cooking everything. Also, Chinese people love their food and drinks to be hot, temperature-wise. I'm guessing that cornflakes with cold milk would be a hard no. Sparkling, seltzer water. Now I come from an Asian country where ice-cold water is pretty acceptable due to the unbearable heat, but God forbid I never understood why people drank sparkling water. I worked part-time at a restaurant in a touristy area and so many Americans, Europeans would drink $6 sparkling water and I never understood why. I've tried it myself a few times and to quote the culinary genius Ralph Wiggums, it tastes like burning. My Japanese friends say that American sweets are too sweet. Like the cakes and cookies taste like sugar and nothing else. I've figured out the entire matrix, be Asian and Australian at the same time to expose myself to both foods. People tend to underestimate how heavy Greek food tends to be on the stomach. For example, if you have traditionally cooked moussaka, it will be tasty as hell, but it will sit in your stomach like a brick. So far most of my friends have suffered because they underestimated its heaviness. The only one that has made it through the gauntlet that is Greek food is my current GF. That girl can eat. I'm raised as a Thai and you know that our culture is based on spicy food. Sometimes it can go from mild to insane. I'm more of a middle guy. Food here is also based on fresh vegetables and light meat, and complicated flavors of spicy, sweet and sour at the same time. When exposed to other Southeast Asian cuisine, I can handle most of them and I find East Asian cuisine bland sometimes. But Western cuisine, the culinary pain I went through is the amount of fat in the dish. By fat I mean oil, butter, cheese and any equivalents. I just can't handle if the food is too oily and will ruin my appetite every single time. I would even feel queasy or even dizzy after the meal. And the only way to fix this? Spice and a lot of spice. I guess cold water or sparkling water? Now I'm used to it, but when I was younger I always got stomachaches because everyone drank cold water in kindergarten. Mustard. It's a different kind of spicy and I can't handle it. My Chinese neighbor was talking about how grossed out he is by cheese being on everything in the US, and melted gooey cheese is particularly disgusting to him. He remarked that the only thing we don't put cheese on is fish. I proceeded to tell him about the culinary delight that is a tuna melt. Not my own experience, but my girlfriend is Thai and eats incredibly spicy food on the regular, but can't stomach traditional Icelandic smoked lamb. Too salty and too smoked for her. Me on the other hand absolutely love that shit. It took me a long time to get used to eating plain steamed, boiled vegetables. I thought that was a in the movies only thing until I was much older. I prefer my vegetables stir-fried and heavily flavored. Raw, uncooked stuff. Not me, but my dad shudders when he sees a steak served rare. Stuff like raw oysters, beef tartare, even runny eggs horrify him. I know a friend who absolutely cannot deal coconut milk-based sauces. I'm of half Asian, European descent, so I've been raised to appreciate both sides of Asian and Western cuisine, so I don't have a problem with either. However, looking at my observations with my Asian friends when I introduce them to some Western dishes, extremely sour dishes or pickled fish seems to be the most offensive to them. Put some sauerkraut or pickled herring in front of them and they just disappear lol. Edit, changed Eurasian to mixed descent cause I think it means something different to other Redditors. Sorry for confusing y'all. Vegemite and Marmite. I moved to NZ 4 years ago from Singapore. I cannot compute how a nation that loves relatively bland unspicy food also embraces that hideous salty, yeasty weird paste. AAAACHK. Beer. An amp, #X200B. I get super red when having just one drink of really anything weak, even a simple Angry Orchard. But I can down multiple bowls of spicy Indian curry with peppers and hot sauce down to the last drop. Koreans have this term called nukihada, noi ggi ha da, to describe a sense of discomfort from greasy, creamy foods. The word does not exist in English as far as I know because it has never been an issue for the native English speakers. The tangy and sourness of Persian cuisine. I'm not used to their tastes but their food looks so damn delicious. My mother is full-blooded Mexican and eats some of the hottest stuff conceivable. Can't handle the mild sauce at B-dubs. Indian here. Have lived and worked around the world. The first time I moved west was to the UK. With a palate used to strong flavors, every dish in UK tasted horribly bland. It felt like I was eating soggy cardboard for a few months. Then I started to discover the delicate flavors of Western cuisine. For the first time I appreciated that different meats have different flavors and textures. All that was hidden by strong spices were revealed to me one by one. In short, all food was painful initially, but I grew to appreciate and love them over time. Bland, unsalty foods. Also, even though I have a huge sweet tooth, some desserts are too sweet, rich. Eating rare meat. It's not actually that the meat is raw, it's the fact that meat available in my country will become a chewy rubber when cooked unless it's braised until it becomes well done, probably due to low fat content. I have never had and can't possibly imagine steak that's pink in the inside and soft as butter they talk about in Western cooking shows. Edit, grammar and spellings. I'm Indian, so bring on the spice. But wasabi is my kryptonite. Snails from France. I have Indian family, married into but since I was a baby so they're real family, and they always complain how bland our food is. However, since then my Dutch family started using their spices and sauces in typical Dutch dishes and honestly it makes everyone happy. Think stamppot, mashed potatoes with kale, it's better than it sounds, with homemade piccalilli. The funny part is that I, as a pasty white Dutch person, tend to overload on hot sauces while my Indian brother can't handle it for shit. My boyfriend is South Asian, and has zero tolerance to sour candy. Haven't tried pickled things or licorice on him yet, but my expectations are low. My dad likes Asian food and my mom likes Western food so I grew up liking both sides. Some people I know, however, can't stand creamy and cheesy food. To them it's disgusting and when they see me eating pasta they would always say, "What the hell do you find good in that?" On a slightly unrelated topic, I treat pork dishes as fancy meals because I live in a Muslim country and pork is expensive and hard to find. I'd kill to have bacon weekly. Everything is so damn sweet. There's so much sugar in every candy, cake, drinks, etc. In China, you can definitely taste the difference. We got a cake for my grandmother's birthday and there was an extremely small amount of sugar. There was more fruit than frosting lol. I'm not the Asian person, but the things my Filipino girlfriend has not appreciated me introducing her to were basil. None of the Filipino spaghetti pizza I've seen included basil. It's more a sweet tomato paste there. My pizza and spaghetti include a lot. And if you've never eaten basil before getting a huge amount your first try can be overwhelming. Sauerkraut. I wish I'd had a camera when she took a giant bite of this stuff. From the look on her face, you'd have thought she ate dogshit sprinkled with live hornets. Horseradish. This is actually her fault. She ate a piece of it straight because she thought it was ginger. Which is totally understandable because horseradish and ginger don't look or smell anything alike. Tears and snot everywhere. Not really answering the question, but where I live, Singapore, some stores may make laksa, a spicy dish, less spicy if they see that the person ordering is a Westerner. As for me, I recently went to Europe and couldn't take how much fat there was in the dishes, cheese, milk etc. Don't get me wrong, I do eat cheese at home, but it just seems like there's cheese everywhere. Cliché, but the absence of seasoning and like way too much cheese. It tastes good for like a bite or two but gets irritating real quick. And also how you guys can eat desserts that are not bite-sized. Edit, wow, you guys really are pressed over my bite-sized dessert statement. Where I come from, we have desserts that can be consumed in a bite, that gives the person who is eating it the choice to consume more if they want, which is not the case in, say a piece of pie or a cupcake. You either got to eat it all or see it go to waste. Also, the sweets from my country are way stronger, sweeter in taste than Western sweets, so it's convenient being bite-sized. I'm Indian, and I fucking love spicy food. I cannot handle how some foods or items will say spicy on the menu and then be absolutely flat. That and the amount of sugar in so many dishes and spices, and specifically the mixture of sweet and spicy, e.g. barbecue sauce, I don't understand. Why would you want to get sugar rush and a burnt asshole from the same thing?